opening matches. We welcome you to Bet365 for the win right here on One Soccer. And also hello to everyone watching on our One Soccer YouTube channel. Annie Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, and Jimmy Brennan with you. So this is a historic result for Canada. Their third appearance at a World Cup. They have never picked up a point. 2022, they got their first goal. 2026, they get their first point. Jimmy, how do you feel about that historic moment?
Do you know, I think they'll be disappointed that they didn't get 3 points.
Sure.
But looking at it now, taking a point, they'll be happy with that, knowing that the match that they have against Qatar coming up, they're well capable of getting 3 points against them. Bosnia wasn't that great today. I thought the first half, we weren't really that good. We kind of grew into the game. In the second half, we got a little bit better. I think we had 10 corners, 13 shots, which for me, there's a lot of positives in that match that shows you you're getting into that final third. You're trying to be progressive and get at the opposition, which they did at times. And we had numerous chances, in my opinion, that should have been in the back of the net with Jonathan David, obviously with Tanny. Lavrea gets one cleared off the line. So there was a lot of chances today, a lot of positives, but I just think that first half kind of let them down a little bit. And Jesse Marsh even said himself, he wished it was a lot better, that first half, compared to the second.
What a big day.
Great day.
I feel like everyone's just kind of collectively catching their breath now because a lot of firsts. And everyone involved, from the fans, starting with the fans to the team on the field, everyone played their part. And I think it's going to be a day that's going to live long in the minds and the hearts of people across this country. I feel like it's okay to come at this from a number of different perspectives here. A bunch of different emotions considering what we experienced. I do think the overwhelming sentiment should be disappointment in the fact that the result wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. They played a poor Bosnia side. You're playing at home. The boys were up for it. They had chances to go on and win that game as well. And the fact they only come out with that historic point, it feels like something's lacking a little bit there because they put themselves in a position, Jimmy, where now I think people are accepting that the draw was good enough because they conceded first and it looked like they were struggling at times. But the way that they finished that game, they deserve more. And I think they'll be disappointed that they didn't win. And I think the country should still have that mentality that a win should have been expected on the day.
No, absolutely. You could see the players even after when they came off, they knew themselves. They were like, we should have won this game. We had numerous opportunities here. And the way that they were pushing forward, I loved it. I loved it. They kept on working. They never stopped. I thought the subs, when they came on, they'd done their job. And that's all you ask. When a sub comes on, make sure you do your job. Can you change the game? Can you be the difference? And I felt the subs were.
Kyle Larin literally scored 2 minutes after he came on. Okay, I tried to be a little bit more emotional here with the one historical point, but you guys are bringing up some good points because at the end of the day, this is a Canadian team that has come so far that the expectation wasn't just to win, but when you look at their performance, you mentioned some of the chances that they had. It was Jekyll and Hyde the way they went from the first half to the second half. So let's talk a little bit about that performance and why you feel it led to the draw as opposed to the full 3 points.
Attention to details, and that has been my biggest criticism of this group. You're never going to be negative about this team, about the commitment that they have, what they leave on the field. Like, the work rate was exceptional, the effort was exceptional, and you're never going to knock them on that. It's attention to details. This team remains very poor at set pieces. Taking them, they had 10 corner kicks in the game. I think they had 9 of them in the first half. None of them came from anything. And then they conceded a really cheap goal in a corner kick, Jimmy, where Stefan Eustachio went for a walk, left his spot. The rotation wasn't quick enough. Max Crepeau was left swimming near post as well. The blames to go around. But that's oftentimes what separates, victory from a draw in this case. A victory in this game, you're feeling great about your chances not only to advance, but to go on and win the group. The fact that you draw means that you need to be a little bit more honest in your next game against Qatar in order to get that business done. But I feel like they let themselves down. Like, this Canada team now in their last 10 games, and I'm not going to go back to Copa America, that seems like ages ago.
No,
the last 10 games, 3 wins, 6 draws, and just 1 loss. We know that this Canada team is a tough team to beat, Jimmy. I don't care who they play. They're going to be a tough out. But are they good enough to go on and win games when it matters the most? And on the evidence of it today, they're still coming up a little bit short. And that's why you're still getting those Qatar 3.5 years ago vibes, because it was kind of the same story at that time.
Do you know what? If they weren't creating those chances, then I'd be worried.
Yeah.
Because we are getting into good positions. The only problem was we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net today. Richie Larea was very unlucky, wasn't he? I don't know how that guy cleared the ball off the line, but, you know, the thing is, when you go into a tournament play, the one thing that you don't want to do is you do not want to lose that first game, okay? 3 points would be delightful. They didn't. They got the one, so they're on the scoreboard now. Now it's about them taking what they did in that second half and bringing that to Qatar now, who is, in my opinion, not a very good side. We're at home, and we'll get the results against them. The thing is, with the first half, what we got to keep in mind is the amount of pressure that's on the players, the amount of energy that they use, the build-up, their minds are spinning, right? Just walking out onto that field. You tend to use a lot of wasted energy at times. And it took them a while to finally settle down and get calm and then grow into the game. Now, you can imagine, you're playing at home in front of 45,000 people in Toronto, representing your country, pro-Canadian crowd. That's going to take its toll on you. And I think now going into Qatar, the players will be a lot less stressed. They'll be more calm.
Yeah, I think they almost got a little bit too calm for me. They started to play the game that Bosnia wanted to play in the first half. Very slow, deliberate. Canada thrives off of chaos, you know, putting pressure on the ball, forcing mistakes. And once they picked up the tempo, and I thought a lot of that came through the substitutes, it was a different team. Automatically, from the time he got onto the field, Ali Ahmed just changed the game.
Was great.
But this is case in point for Ali Ahmed. This is why it was a big story coming into the game, how fit Ahmed was. If he can go 90 minutes, we saw in the build-up to this tournament, he proved as an irreplaceable player in this Canada team. And from wide areas before he came on the field, there was nowhere near enough, Jimmy. Yeah. I still think, like, this game will go down to moments. The Kolasinac off the bar with the Larea chance. But if Jonathan David, in the 16th or 17th minute, finishes that chance, he is never going to have a better chance at a World Cup to score a goal. It's 0-0 at that time. If Jonathan David puts that into the back of the net, I don't think Bosnia has a chance in this game. They were slow, they were sluggish, they only completed 63% of their passes. But these are the slim margins here, and it matters in games like this because Canada isn't France or Spain. They're still Canada, a good team, but can they make that jump to potentially be a great team?
We'll focus on David in just a moment. And, you know, the amount of years that we've been doing this, I don't care what anyone says, especially when you're at home, those emotions creep in unless you absolutely have no soul. Because the images were fantastic as well of all the Canadian fans lining up at the hotel, players coming out, everything is there. So you're right. It's almost like the home side, you have to manage your emotions for the first 15. If you're the road team, you just have to weather the storm for the first 15. And that's exactly what they did, and they end up getting the goal. But let's instead talk about Kyle Larin first, because he's the one who salvages the point for Canada, comes on in as a sub in the 76th minute, gets the goal in the 78th, and he struck that with venom, Jimmy. And, you know, he's been quite the storyline because a lot of people felt he shouldn't get the start. Then it looked like he would get the start. Then he didn't get the start. He comes in as a sub. Is he going to score? Won't he score? Can he be as effective as he once was? He's not as effective as he once was. Hence the celebration of this, right? I think that's kind of where that came from. Kind of just tuning out the noise.
Usually it's directed towards me. That was nice.
I feel like everything. I think he held up a sign at one point too. And it said "wheels down." What did you just make of him having that impact?
I thought he was very good. I thought he worked well with promises. I thought the two of them were very good balance. One would go forward, one come in. Both are powerful. They cause havoc for the defenders. But just that play when Coney comes inside and that delicate touch from the big man, Promise, around the corner into Larin. Larin uses his body very well, rolls the defender, has a shot, gets a little bit of deflection and finds the back of the net. But I thought his play overall was very good. I thought he worked hard. He was in the right places, right time, used his body well. I liked what I saw from him, and I'm glad that he scored. And you're right, he's plugging his ears because he's keeping all the noise outside. He doesn't care. He just wants to play his football, scored his goal. And what else do you want?
I like this role for him in the team. Like, the successful run into the season that he had with Southampton, he wasn't starting every game. 3 of his 9 goals that he scored came off the bench, and that was instant impact. I love the way that he used his body on that turn. Oftentimes in the game when the Canadian attacking players got it, Jimmy, I thought they were a little bit negative, a little bit safe. go out wide, go back. I mean, that was a turn with purpose. I also really liked the run by Ismail Kone on the goal.
Great run.
Coming all the way through, opening up the space. I thought he gave the other center back, who was maybe stuck on an island a little bit, something to think about. So he couldn't fully commit to helping on Kyle Aaron on that turn as well. And Promise David linked up with him with the ball that put him into his foot. So it was a great team goal. There was 3 or 4 moments like that where Canada showed a little bit more patience and precision, those passes in tight.
Richie Lorez.
I thought
that was great
Richie and Alistair Johnston were both standout for me at the fullback positions. But Richie, that's always kind of been the knock on him when he gets forward. What's he going to do with it? But I thought he was useful. Unlucky to get a goal, but that moment for Kyle Aaron, look, the reason why he's in the starting 11, let's be clear, it's not because of what he did or did not do with Southampton. It's under Jesse Marsch he hasn't produced. That's the only reason. He scored the second most goals in Canadian men's national team history, but that's just his second in 25 games under Jesse Marsch. I think on the balance of it, in the 2 friendlies in the build-up to this tournament, he didn't do anything to distinguish himself from the pack. And I just think that Tanny can't finish his breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but he does a lot right in the overall scheme of the game to bring other players in, especially when he dropped into that Jonathan David role. So decision to make for Jesse Marsch, whether to start Laren in the next game. I keep him right where he is, bring him off the bench, being that extra spark, because he probably right now is the best finish of anyone in this team.
The subs definitely work for Jesse Marsch, and you're right, between Promise David, Kyle Aaron. Promise David, by the way, if he decides he's going to go down a certain track, you better get out of the way because he will bulldoze right over you. Let's head inside Canada Soccer House, powered by General Mills, for more analysis on this match.
Mackenzie Barwell alongside Oliver Platt here inside Canada Soccer House following Canada's first ever point in a World Cup. 1-1 to Bosnia and Herzegovina. What a day here at Canada Soccer House. Ollie, talk about your experience. This place was buzzing.
Yeah, it was a really special day, to be honest with you. I've been here in downtown Toronto all day in Canada Soccer House, just kind of wandering around in the area as well, and just seeing the amount of Canadian supporters in kits, all wearing red flags on the streets. I'm sure people have seen some of the videos of the supporters marches. I know you were there for that, Mac. The Bosnia fans as well, absolutely playing their part, and then getting here and seeing this, this crowd watch this game, not in the stadium, but the passion they had, the engagement, cheering every moment, the gasps, every noise that you can think of in the crowd. Like,
so true.
I've never seen anything like that in terms of a Canadian soccer match, in terms of, just the engagement with it today, and how the passion is the perfect word. Yeah, so one to remember. I know people will be wrapped up in the game and the result, but I think we'll look back on this as a real big moment and maybe turning point for Canadian soccer.
Absolutely, and the amount of buy-in from everybody here. And in the city, to your point, I was at the Voyageurs March earlier this morning. Unbelievable turnout. The crowd was so invested, but I also have to shout out the Bosnian fans who followed suit shortly after the Voyageurs. It felt like the ground started vibrating, Ollie. Like, that's how much passion for the sport there is in this city. But let's talk about the game, because that is, of course, a hot topic right now. It is Kyle Laren to equalize for Canada after not getting the start. Jesse Marsch calls up Taniel O'Shea. What are you thinking from this match in terms of maybe 2 points lost, although there is technically 1 point gained here?
Yeah, I think it is a point gains. I know that, obviously we wanted to win today, and that could have really set the place on fire in terms of the momentum moving forwards, but it's a really important point in terms of progression from a group. And as big as the opening game is, if Canada can play a knockout game, that's going to blow everything else out of the water. So now if they beat Qatar, get to 4 points, they've got a brilliant chance of doing that. I think it also matters not just the result, but the way they played. And the first half wasn't great. They had a couple of chances, but did go in behind. But then I thought what we saw, which is what we need to see from this team and what people will respond to beyond just the results, they played with a tremendous amount of courage. Like, individual players, they could go through this team. Kyle Aaron, obviously, no one takes more criticism than this guy at times. He steps up in the big moment and scores. Maxime Crepeau with an enormous save and a really brave save made to keep the score at 1-0. Luc de Fougereau, I don't know how this kid keeps doing it. He's phenomenal. And then in midfield, I thought Kone and Eustáquio in that second half really took charge of the game and stepped up. So many individual players who just showed what they're about, and that's what this team, I think, has to be about going forward.
And you know what? Even in the first half, like, you and I were back and forth texting about the amount of corners we had. It shows how much they were really going forward and the amount of chances that they did have. And even when they equalized, like, you could tell both sides were saying, to themselves, okay, we could actually win this. Like, it never got boring. Neither side settled, and Canada especially in the second half. Let's talk about Jonathan David, because he came out earlier than we expected, around the 60th minute. This is the guy that had a lot of pressure on his back. We were expecting him to be the one to deliver, to be the one to score, and he comes out early.
Yeah, that is a real shocker, and I don't know what's going on there, if there's some kind of maybe fitness or injury issue that forced them to take him off. He did not look himself, but we know that that's been the case for a while, and I know there's been a lot of talk about Jonathan David's position, but his position has essentially always been the same for Canada under Jesse Marsch. He's always played as that number 10, and he was very good in his first year under Marsch. What changed, and maybe you can say it's coincidence, but the timing really lines up, is his club. It's when he went to Juventus that his international form has really dropped off, and I just wonder if that adjustment, not just in terms of the challenges of making an impact at Juventus, but the different style of Italian clubs in Serie A. There's some interesting quotes this week. Jamie Vardy talked about, going to Italy and the differences between that and the Premier League, and he says they train so hard, they run all the time, they don't get days off and rest. I wonder if that is kind of wearing on Jonathan David after a long season. I don't know. That's just me kind of trying to make sense of a player who, I don't think it's too much to say Jesse Marsch has staked his Canada tenure on this guy, and he's off in the 60th minute is a crazy one to have thought about a year ago.
Well, you have to be happy as a Canada fan and as a manager for Jesse Marsch, and seeing the impact that Kyle Larin and Promise David had when they did eventually come into that attack. Ahmed as well, Promise having that assist. We could get into that another time. This conversation could be a lot longer than the time we actually have. But again, Canada Soccer House, an absolutely amazing environment today. And although the next game, obviously against Qatar, is taking place in Vancouver, no doubt it'll be the same atmosphere here at Canada Soccer House.
Don't worry, Mackenzie, we will carry on the conversation here. And in fact, we're going to pony off that and continue with Jonathan David, who does come off in the 61st minute. I don't know about you guys, my phone also blew up. We had the reaction of, he's coming out. Of course, Jesse Marsch gets the subs right. Then, Kyle Larin goes on to get the tying goal. But what was your reaction when he came out as early as he did?
I was surprised, and then when you kind of thought about it a little bit, he wasn't as productive as what he normally is. He had a golden opportunity that you would have put the house on, that he's going to put this in the back of the net, not even 12 yards out, doesn't finish. And for me, he kind of drifted in and out of the match, and I thought it's very brave of Jesse Marsch to take Jonathan David off, because a lot of people would be thinking, we need a goal, and this is going to be the guy that's going to get our goal, or maybe set it up. Where Jesse looked at it and said, no, you're not performing, you're not at your best right now, I need somebody off the bench to come out, give me some fresh legs and make things happen.
Even his touch on the ball.
Yeah, it
just like, typically it's so silky, it's so with purpose, it looks like he's almost questioning himself in the moment. We said it coming into this World Cup. I just think that he's Canada's most important player if they want to reach the heights that they believe that they can reach. We need to see Jonathan David. If he's not at his best, he's got to be somewhere close. Like, there cannot be any passengers in this team right now. It was a tough one for him today. The only thing that I thought with him coming out and Canada getting the goal, and you're right, that the changes worked for Jesse, the subs responded. I wonder when the game opened up a little bit more and the Bosnian players, they were having a difficult time. I don't know, it was the heat. They're not quick anyways, a bunch of big boys out there. But the game kind of opened up a little bit. I think it would have suited Jonathan David a little bit more if he was on at that time.
Yeah.
And now it's funny, you're hearing people question, well, should Jonathan David start in the next match for Canada? Yes, 100%. Like, it's mission get him going right now.
Right.
It's not take him. You can't take him out of the team when you're playing Qatar.
No, but the thing is, you just said there's no passengers. There's no room for passengers. So you've got guys on the bench that want that job. So if you're out there and you're not performing,
you consider not starting him?
No, I'm going to start him.
Yeah. Well, you got to get him going, though.
But you got to perform.
If you're the manager, I mean, these are all the types of different permutations you have to think about, right? But at the end of the day, there seems to be a consensus. That is still Jonathan David's starting position. We're going to preview the 3 matches that are going to be happening tomorrow. That includes Qatar, Switzerland, so you get to take a look at the 2 other teams in the group with Canada. So stick with us here on Bet365 for the win.
For the Win on One Soccer is presented by Bet365.
We were there for your first game together. The day you taught him the rules and the answer for every question. We've been there for the good times and a few moments we don't talk about. And now,
who won the most Canadian Classics?
it's a passion you can share. And we're just happy we could be there. 20 years, and we're still growing. Together.
In Canada, our future stars don't simply show up on the world stage. They are built from the ground up, right here in the heart of our communities.
Oh, lovely through ball there, Isaiah Johnson! Goal for Halifax!
From a childhood dream to the national team.
Jacob Shuffle, yes! He's done it! Canada on top of the footballing world!
We are Canada, driven by Volkswagen.
Canada are really pressing here. Oh, what a move! That is a quality ball! Now the run into the box!
For the Win on One Soccer is presented by bet365.
Settle in for footy on Saturday. Here's a look at the schedule. And that first match there at 3 p.m. ET features the two other teams in Canada's group, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland as well in action. We're going to take a look at all three. Let's begin with that first one. Switzerland has made the round of 16 at the last three tournaments. Qatar, by the way, made their first appearance 4 years ago as hosts. So if you are Canada, Gareth, maybe what are you looking at when you're watching that game?
Well, a couple things. Qatar's your next opponents. They're going to be keeping a keen eye. They're managed by Julian Lopetegui, very good manager, but the team is severely limited. They've done well because for how much Canada had the ball today, still the chance creation needs to be there, and the finish for Canada certainly nowhere near good enough. And you don't want another game to drag out like today, Jimmy, where you're searching for a goal late in order to put yourself in a position to get a result.
Yeah, I mean, look, Qatar's going to make it very difficult for Canada. They'll defend, they'll bunker in, they'll sit on top of their 18-yard box and probably 2 blocks of 4. And you're right, that's where we've got to be. Our tempo's got to get lifted. Similar to the way Larea got in behind. It's got to be quick football, good movement, intricate passing. But with this Qatar side, I don't think it's going to be too much of a worry for them. But the one thing that they're going to look is they're going to look at them and say, okay, where are their threats? What are their weaknesses? How do they defend when they win the ball? What do they look to do? Do they want to go forward? Do they want to play possession? So there's a lot that's going to go in behind the scenes about how both of these teams play.
And Canadian fans are going to be really curious to see how good Switzerland are. Whether Canada are in within a shout, with a shout of really having a puncher's chance against Switzerland. You said it, like, other than France, they're the only European team that's gone through the last 5 major competitions and got out of the group. They're a good tournament team. They have a lot of good young up-and-coming players. They're really well managed. So let's see. The expectation that Switzerland's going to win this one going away, but you still need to get the job done. And I think it will be a good, maybe reality check for a lot of Canadian fans out there to determine, see for their own, for themselves, how good the Switzerland team actually is.
Only so many times people can say top team in the group. You got to watch them in action. So speaking of that, who would be your Tellus player to watch?
Yeah, we watched him in the Bundesliga all this season playing for Freiburg. Johan Manzambi, he's 20 years old. Look at that, 47 appearances in all competitions, Jimmy. Played in a Europa League final. This is like a $60, $70 million player. He covers so much ground in the middle of the park. He can step up and pop in with a goal as well. 12 caps, 3 goals for Switzerland. We have Ismail Kone and Stefan Eustáquio in the midfield. Going up against a Swiss potential midfield with Manzambi and others, where they might have a little bit more in terms of legs and numbers, that'll be a real challenge. I think he's a real jewel for the Swiss side.
16 cities total are going to be hosting matches. So that one will be in San Francisco. The next one's going to make its way to New Jersey. So you have Brazil, the odds-on favorite. 5 times they are winners of the World Cup, the last one coming in 2002. But Morocco 2022 surprised a lot of people. They ultimately finished in 4th place. And even at the youth level, they have been winning. This is a team that wants to also go out and prove that's not a flash in the pan either, what they were able to accomplish. So what's kind of standing out with this matchup?
Should be a great game. Honestly, like Morocco is a legit semifinalist in the last World Cup, and they ambition to go on and do the exact same thing. They just hosted African Cup of Nations. They lost the final. Then they ended up winning it.
Yeah, who won it?
Yeah.
Whatever. But you don't get to finals like that or semifinals of World Cups without being a really good tournament team. They have some really good attacking players in the group, but for me, the best matchup on the field is going to be Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha going up against the fullbacks in Mazraoui as well as Hakimi. They're just elite. Like, what a matchup on paper. We'll see if Carlo Ancelotti will have the magic touch with Brazil, much like he has with the Real. Everywhere he goes, really. And he spends his time in British Columbia, so we love that as well. This is a legit heavyweight tilt in the first matches of the tournament.
It really is. This is one of the biggest games for me in the group stages. With Morocco, what I do like about them is the way that they play. They play a really good brand of football. You've also got to give them credit. What they've done is, a lot of the players aren't born in Morocco. They've taken a lot of players that were born in Europe and that have dual citizenship and brought them back to play for Morocco. And they've built this great culture within. And that's why they've been so successful over the last number of years. This is going to be a team that's going to be very, very difficult again. And I'm assuming, and I think they will go for a good run, possibly get to the semis again. Now, with the Brazilian side, we know what they're all about. On paper, they've got probably arguably the best team. But nobody's really talking about Brazil winning a World Cup for some reason this year. Everybody thinks it might be France or it could be Spain, Germany, England. But I think it's because when you have so many egos, it's hard to get the best out of them. And when you got that many good players in one team, sometimes it doesn't work the way that you want it to work. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they play against this Morocco side and see if they're up for it this World Cup.
That's what they said about us, the 3 of us and our egos.
Yeah.
And could we make this panel work? I trumped them all.
Dream team here.
But how about Brazil? Let's take a look, Jimmy, at your Tellus player to watch.
This guy, 25, everybody knows who Vinny is. 53 appearances, 22 goals, 14 assists. He's played over 240 games for Real Madrid, 2 Champions Leagues. He's won 3 La Ligas. He's won absolutely everything in domestic football. One of the best players on the pitch. And again, for me, is he going to be supported rightly around him? Is he going to be able to stand out? Can he make a difference in this World Cup? Are we going to see his creativity, or is it going to go in the reverse and he's not going to stand out as much as we'd like him to? Because he is a world-class player when he's focused and he's determined, and you're hoping the Brazilian fans will be. He's going to show up for this World Cup.
Just coming off a frustrating season at Real Madrid. Not the only one, admittedly, but he does have that previous relationship with Ancelotti. And if he can get the most out of Vinny, with Rafinha, with Cunha and others, like, that's a pretty scary attack. Solid midfield as well. So Vinny potentially could have a big tournament here.
All right, let's look at the final match that's going to be played, Haiti, Scotland, as we make our way to Boston for that one, the late game. Haiti back in the World Cup for the first time in 52 years. Scotland since 1998. Come on now. So tell me, is this like a must 3 points here for Scotland?
It has to be. Scotland's got to win this game. The first game, Haiti, I can't see if Scotland's on the front foot and they're ready to go with the support that they have. We know what the Tartan Army's like. They're going to be coming out in thousands. And if they can commit themselves and gel together and play the football that they know how to play, because this is a team that they're not fancy, but they'll work hard and they'll work for one another. We saw them grind it out in qualifications and they got the results. It wasn't pretty at times, but they found a way to win. But this is a must-win for them. They need the 3 points because the other teams in their group are very good.
They were so. Listen, I love the Tartan Army. I love the Scottish, but they were so lucky to qualify for this World Cup. Denmark was pounding them in that last game.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck.
They stunk at the Euros, too. They did. Let's be honest. They stunk. Haiti, talk about their support. There's people with Haiti ancestry, like everywhere across North America. Their fandom has been incredible over the course of these warm-up games. They went out and pasted New Zealand 4-0. I know it's New Zealand. Isidor's a good player. You're playing in CONCACAF as well. I actually think that the upset could be on here. I think that Haiti's shown a little something in these warm-up matches, and I think it's going to be a difficult one, especially considering the conditions. They're not in Hampden Park anymore. You're playing in the heat, the summer heat here in North America. It's going to be a tough one.
Come on, Scotland.
I think Haiti's got a puncher's chance.
I have a feeling Jimmy has a few words for you during our commercial break. That's what we're going to head to right now. When we return, we're going to turn our attention back to Canada. Canada, they were in action today against Bosnia and Herzegovina. 1-1 was the final. We'll check in with Christian Jack, who had a chance to speak to some of the players after their opening game. Stay with us here on Bet365 for the win.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by General Mills. For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Turkey Farmers of Canada.
In Canada, our future stars don't simply show up on the world stage. They are built from the ground up, right here in the heart of our communities.
Oh, lovely through ball there, Isaiah Johnson! Goal for Halifax!
From a childhood dream to the national team.
Jacob Schaffelberg! Yes! He's done it! Canada on top of the footballing world!
We are Canada, driven by Volkswagen.
And for Canada, BMO.
After 20 years of supporting the game, we're actually going to play in one. Let's go! So what do you need? Precision striker, rock-solid left back?
We need a coin.
For the coin toss? Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I get it. Can I at least flip it? Heads or tails? I'll do that. We're on TV right now. Yeah.
Hey neighbor, meet Walmart Plus, the new membership that does delivery differently. I'm talking unlimited free same-day delivery, free shipping, and no order minimum. And it comes with a Crave subscription too. Yeah, it's like a 2-for-1. Try it free for 30 days. Walmart Plus.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Samsung.
This is Our House, presented by Samsung. Game 1 inside Toronto Stadium in the books. 1-1 the final. The Canadians will make their way to Vancouver, BC, where they will take on Qatar, and then their final group stage game will be against Switzerland, June 24th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Remember, the goal is to finish first in the group so they can stay in Vancouver, minimize the traveling in a World Cup where there are 3 countries hosting. Let's welcome in from Toronto Stadium, powered by General Mills, Christian Jack. And you've been there all day, KJ, since early this morning. So you've definitely been a part of the atmosphere. How would you best describe it?
It was a really emotional day, I think, for everybody that was blessed to be inside the stadium. You know, it was one of those moments that you'll never forget if you're a Canadian sports fan. I think it was one of those, the best way to describe it is, you know, when you get married and you send out all the invitations and then you finally get there and you realize everybody came. And that's what it was like. Everybody came, and everywhere we looked, from the fans opening the gates at 11 a.m., everybody I talked to, young and old, fans have been to Mexico to support this team, fans that went to the World Cup in 2022 and in 1986, young fans who were seeing them for the first time. Everybody had a story, and sometimes you just looked at people and they just said, like, I'm going to cry today. And that's what it was about. It was, of course, we'll get to the outcome and the result first, but it was just a coronation of the progress of Canadian football that was really remarkable to watch. You know, a stadium and a city transformed, full of red. Thankfully, they got their moment, and we didn't end with a loss as well, which I think was really important, Andy.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see, because the Mexican fans, they had a duck wearing a Mexican kit. Did we see anything crazy like that? There's no moose on the loose, right?
No, I saw a few things at the beginning in the pre-game ceremonies, but no mooses.
Okay. You've had a chance to speak to the players. Everyone's obviously giving their thoughts on the result today. What are they saying?
Well, a lot of it was, first of all, I spoke to Stefano Stacchio. He told me that we have to respect the point and we'll go to Qatar. There's a lot of things that he said that we liked about it. We created enough chances to win the game. And I thought that was a really interesting quote where he said, we will respect the point. Maxime Crepeau said the same thing. He said to me, I felt the moment was consistently coming. And I think he speaks for a lot of people there, that Canada had so much of the ball in that second half that, yes, they could a lot of things they need to clean up in the final third. A lot of the composure and the decision-making, the substitutions made a big impact. We're going to get to Kyle Larin shortly, but I think it was all building up to that moment. We're all waiting for that moment. 1-1 was always going to be better than 0-0 because it meant that we got a moment that fans could go away from here remembering forever. And also the players, you could see what it meant to them, to score a goal like that. And after the game, I spoke to a few of them. Here's Ismail Kone, who obviously had a great view of the goal as well by playing a lot of big role in it, by building up and then playing in Promise David. Here's what Ismail had to say and what he's felt like after the goal went in.
Honestly, I don't know, I felt like I was gonna faint. It was crazy because I felt like we did everything to give ourselves a chance to score. We were on top of them, we were pushing the game, we had momentum, we created so many chances, we had one when we hit the bar, so I think we deserved it, so it was just like a relief. But then obviously we knew the job wasn't done, but it feels good in this moment to have that kind of boost to keep going.
All right, so KJ, why don't we
I mean, with Ismail...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
I was
just going to say with Ismail, I thought that he was a real bright spot. Ultimately, there's a lot of players that I think really stood up and needed to take on the game in the second half. And I thought that the way that he contributed to that goal, you can just see that he continues to develop. It was a nervy day for a lot of the players. They said consistently coming in that they didn't want to play the occasion. They just wanted to play the game. It was always realistic to say that, I suppose, prior to that, but very difficult to put into context. You could see that they were edgy. But I thought Kone grew into the game and was one of a few players for Canada that you could say had a good game and really stood out.
We were so Canadian in that moment, by the way, KJ, just trying to hand it off to the other person. But we're back on track here. You had mentioned Kyle Larin, so I'm guessing that's another big takeaway for you.
Well, on a day where it belonged to Canadian soccer, the second person the day belonged to is Kyle Larin, and I can't think of a better human being that he deserves to be given that, to be quite frank. Larin's been through the ringer in Canadian football for a long time. This is a player that has done a lot for this program, has got incredible amount of respect in that dressing room. You could see what it meant to those players in the celebration, speaking to them afterwards, what it meant to them to see Kyle Larin get that goal for this team. This is a player that, without the goals on the build-up towards 2022, scoring against Mexico in Edmonton, the goal against the United States in Hamilton, scored the big goal against Trinidad and Tobago to get Canada to Copa America, scored so many monumental goals, and once again he's the big man for the main stage again. So happy for Kyle, and I got a chance to catch up with him after the game.
Just to score a home goal on home soil where I'm from, and just to celebrate with the fans. It was an amazing atmosphere, and I have my family there and people who I grew up with. It was amazing.
Kyle, when did you find out you weren't playing, and what was your thought right after it?
Yeah, obviously, I'm upset that you don't get to start that first game in a home World Cup, and it just feels like everything you worked for and then played in your club and scored goals. It's like, what would you do it for? And made a lot of sacrifices to come to this moment.
A lot of sacrifices. Look, Larin ended up being the story on the field. He was the story off the field. When we found out the lineup, that was the major surprise. Everybody expected that they could predict the 11, but they didn't pick Kyle Larin at the start, a player that had got 7 goals in his last 11 games. And I spoke to him afterwards also about the fact that I don't think he scores that goal without having that run of form at Southampton. And he kind of agreed, being in that momentum right now, the instinct to be able to turn and put it away. So, look, you could sense, talking to him, just how disappointed and angry he was. Somebody messaged me when the lineup came out, a former Canadian international, and said, Kyle Larin will be mentally gone now. And I said, what happens if he comes on and scores? That's different. He goes, well, of course that. But to take him out the 11 after playing the last 2 games, it would have been a really tough mental battle for him to come back. But again, sports has a different chapter. And you could see in the celebration that Kyle had as well. And he had a message after that as well.
No, I had it for a while coming into this World Cup and just to shut everyone up.
That's always the risk you run, KJ. You're so right. Many people were thinking the same thing when not being in the starting 11, but you have to hope that that's where the communication comes in with your manager, Jesse Marsh, and explaining things and still trying to keep his players on track and getting the best of them. I'm going to, pitch this to everyone. I'll start with you, KJ. When you look at bright spots here, other than a goal and getting a point, what else stood out to you today?
Well, Canada, for me, under Jesse Marsh, have created an identity where they are very, very difficult to beat. And even in a moment like today, where Bosnia were able to find their moment themselves and get that goal, it looked at times where, okay, are they not going to get that moment? But under Jesse Marsh and with this identity of this Canadian team, they find a way once again to not get buried. It is only the 8th time in 32 games under Jesse Marsh that they've gone behind, and only the 3rd time that they've recovered that. That game against Iceland was a big step. The only other game is against Uruguay, when they went back behind and came back. Most of the time when they've got buried in the past, they've suddenly haven't been able to do that. So they're evolving. That for me is the glass half full thing. The other angle for this, though, about what you learn is that, we've still got to look at the team from an open play perspective and go, can they create more? And now we head into a game next week, which has got 2 words labeled to it. And that game is must win. They have to win that game now based on what they've done here. So they've had their safety net. They've got their moment. Now they have to win that game and secure their spot in the last 32.
All right, Christian, appreciate that insight. We'll check in with you at another date. KJ said he saw some things pregame. I thought we were about to see some things postgame with those fans going behind him. We were saved. But what about you, Jimmy? When you look at some other players, I know we had mentioned some of the substitutions and Ali Ahmed coming on as well and what he was able to do, but who else stood out to you as a positive?
Look, for me, it's going to be the subs. That was a massive bright spot for me when watching that game. A game that wasn't going so well in the first half. Second half, you start bringing players off the bench. Now, that's your job as a player. Can you make a difference when you come out there? Can you raise a tempo? Can you match the energy of the game? And I felt that Promise David, he looked fantastic when he came out there. He was a beast, using his body well. Kyle Larin, I thought he was very good. Ahmed, when he came on, was absolutely brilliant. Schafferberg gave us something down the left-hand side and even also in the middle of the park. So that goes to show me that we got subs that are willing to come on and can make a difference, and that's a bright spot for me.
Yeah. I'll go back to the fullbacks. I thought Alistair Johnston played such an intelligent game. These weren't easy matchups. Badroterovic, coming down the left-hand side, he completed 7 of 14 passes on the day. He just had no time or space to do anything. I thought Johnston, his distribution was good. He was smart, taking quick throws and trying to read the moment. That's the leadership I really think they missed when he was out for a long time. And the legs of Richie Larea, I don't think he's anywhere near 100%. But he is such a pain to deal with coming down that left-hand side, Jim. I know Alphonso Davies, there's no replicating him, but the intangibles that Larea brings to the table each and every time, he sets the tone. He never shirks his responsibility or battles. I thought he was better in the attacking third in this game as well, making up for some players in front of him in wide areas, quite frankly, before Ahmed came on, that were really struggling in terms of their distribution. Canada only completed five accurate crosses the entire game, about 20%. Nowhere near good enough, but Larea wasn't part of that problem. They need to provide that balance, because now I'm looking at this team and I'm saying, okay, there were some positives out of this, even though the result was disappointing. Is this able to be replicated? Because a lot of their work came through working harder or being faster than a very limited Bosnia side. I think they can replicate it against Qatar, but at some point, whether it's Switzerland or beyond that, they're going to have to step up in competition. Are they able to do that? Those are two players I have no concerns about whatsoever in Johnson and Larea.
Well, and we always knew Alphonso Davies wasn't going to play in this first match for sure, and there was a lot of trust in Richie Larea. We knew that. What we didn't know was whether Moise Bombito was going to be available, and of course we found out that even though he's with the team, wouldn't be able to get the start. Luc de Fougerolles does. So now that he's actually been tested in a World Cup game, what'd you think?
For Kone or Luc?
No, Luc de Fougerolles. Yeah.
I thought Luc was outstanding today. I mean, he's a young man, but he plays like he's about 30 years old, like he's been around the block a long time, and he acts like he's got 100 caps. The way that he plays, and I remember we spoke about this as well, that when we saw him recently, we just went, he's actually filled out now. He's gotten bigger. So he's getting bigger, stronger, he's filling out, he knows how to use his body now. I love the way that he plays in the back line. You can see he's vocal, and he's always stepping, he's always on that front foot. As soon as that ball rolls into his man, he's nice and tight, and he's looking to win the ball. And his distribution as well is brilliant. I mean, this is a player that's going to be around this national team for a very long time.
Yeah, it was a really tough matchup for him. From a physicality standpoint, Lukic, the goal scorer for Bosnia, won all 9 aerial matchups that he had during the game. But de Fougerolles was smart. He beat him in other ways, knowing that he couldn't compete there. So that shows me that the ability to play a little bit more pragmatic and maybe play to your strengths rather than your opponent. That's not easy for a 20-year-old, because oftentimes they try to do that too much, right?
Yeah, he's thinking.
It's here.
It's all upstairs, which is good to see.
I like that. And look, the true test is not whether you can do it once, whether he can go on and do this game in, game out in this tournament. I think at some point, I don't know if it's the next game against Qatar, you're going to need to see if Alfie Jones can play. You might give Joel Waterman a run. I don't think a 20-year-old who had some injury issues at the end of the year can go in and play 90 minutes of every game. Cornelius right now, like, fit as a fiddle. De Fougerolles, it's a lot to ask of him, Jimmy. They're a better team with him on the field, but I do think at some point there's going to have to be some kind of rotation.
You got to play your best center backs, and he's available. You got to play him.
All right, let's move into the middle of the pitch. You brought up a name, so let's go there already. Kone Fever, gone. And his combination with Eustachio, how do you like that?
I love it. I think those two work very well together. They complement one another. Eustachio wants to get on the ball. He wants to play. Kone, for me, the box to box. And I love when he gets on the ball and he starts driving into space, because what he does is he pulls defenders out of position, because a defender's got to engage with him, which opens up another spot for somebody else. Example, on the goal, he drives inside, defenders start coming towards him, he links up play, little 1-2 around the corner, we end up scoring. You've seen it all over the park. He uses his body well, he's never scared to pull out of to go into a challenge. I just think his presence on that field is needed, and I feel like he played like a proper midfielder today with a bit of bite about him, and I like the way that he played.
Bigger challenges are to come. I didn't think the Bosnia midfield were very good. They're limited in terms of their mobility. So a two-man midfield, very physical. Yeah. But this Bosnia today, they only completed 63% of their passes, and they only created 0.02 in expected goals from open play. Everything was from set pieces. So I think this matchup suited Canada. Other than Eustachio's blip on the goal, just kind of maybe trying to read a little bit too much of what was taking place on the corner kick. He was rock solid. Kone, vital just in terms of scoring the goal. Again, there's going to be more difficult matches where you wonder about numerical advantages or disadvantages, how that will play out. But those two players, I mean, we cannot go through what we went through in Qatar when Eustachio got hurt halftime of the second game came out, they weren't the same team. I like Saliba, I like Chouanier, I like Osorio, but that's your number one combination. And I think you're going to be riding those guys a whole lot in this tournament.
It's always like you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yes.
And it's so true, because Eustáquio a lot of times quietly goes about his business, and then you remove him and you go, oh, that's what the team looks like without him, right? That lack of creativity, and just getting that ball up. Okay, the show's winding down here, but you know we're not going to let you go without Wheeler's parlays. We're going to get to that when we return here. Who you got? The odds from Bet365 as you continue to watch For the Win.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by General Mills. For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Turkey Farmers of Canada.
Canada are really pressing here. Oh, what a move. That is a quality ball. Now the run into the box.
Hey neighbor, meet Walmart Plus, the new membership that does delivery differently. I'm talking unlimited free same-day delivery, free shipping, and no order minimum. And it comes with a Crave subscription too. Yeah, it's like a 2-for-1. Try it free for 30 days. Walmart Plus.
Hey Vinny, is that your lucky song? That's too bad, because it's Tajon's too. And don't trust those lucky boots. They're not gonna score on their own. In soccer, the best don't run on rocket fuel. They run every single day. So believe in your sweat, and Gatorade will fuel it with a formula that rehydrates, replenishes, and refuels. Because when it matters most, trust what's inside. Is it in you?
We were there for your first game together. The day you taught him the rules. And the answer for every question. We've been there for the good times and a few moments we don't talk about. And now?
Who won the most Canadian Classics?
It's a passion you can share. And we're just happy we could be there. 20 years, and we're still growing. Together.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Samsung.
Parlay of the day. Let's look at Qatar, Switzerland. They will begin things tomorrow. Wheels, take us through this.
Yeah, I provided a winner on the first day of the tournament. The corners in the Canada game went over, so no winner there. Let's go. I'm feeling good about Saturday. This is, I like to call the Wheeler special. This is the Wheeler special. Both teams have scored no and over 2.5 goals, which means Switzerland will win 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. Well, Qatar could win by the same, but I'm banking on Switzerland to win this in a walk. Plus 250 makes a lot of sense for me. Parlay that, nice little output. Roll with the Wheeler special for Switzerland, Qatar to get your Saturday off to a flying start.
Let's keep rolling. I want to look at the Brazil-Morocco matchup and what you've got cooking there.
Brazil is a big favorite in this game, minus 163 to win it. I think Morocco are being undervalued here, disrespected to a certain degree. I back Morocco to cover some sort of spread, perhaps a double chance in just in terms of a win and a draw in this game. I think this one has like a 1-1-2-2 written all over it, Jimmy.
I do like Morocco. And I think they're going to have an upset. They're going to do it.
It's just because the first game of these tournaments, a couple things happen. Win to nil is always a good play, especially when a big team plays a smaller team. But you just don't want to lose that first game.
No, you don't.
Especially with the two big dogs in the group as well. So I think this one could end in a draw. I think there's some value backing Morocco.
Look at Argentina last World Cup, lost the first game. That happens all the time. So this could be Morocco ends up winning.
All right, this one I have a feeling is going to be a spicy meatball for Jimmy more than anything, because I have no clue what you're going to say here between Haiti and Scotland.
Again, Haiti at plus 425 to win. It's worth the punt for me. I prefer playing Haiti outright on the handicap. Just buy it down to a full goal. If Scotland wins by a goal, you get your money back. I think Haiti can come away with the result here. Jimmy?
I can't believe you're putting money on that.
Is Scott McTominay sick this week?
Scott will play. Okay. Scotland will win.
Yeah, he did miss some training because, of course, for the last few years, he's been in Italy, Napoli, to be exact, where my family's from, where the food is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's loving life.
His little sensitive tummy couldn't handle the North American food anymore. But it turns out I think he's going to be okay. Let's just, kind of look at this pragmatically. When we look at Canada, gets the point here. So what does this mean moving forward in their group?
Like, overall, the result is fine. I mean, you want the win to galvanize the nation, give people a reason to celebrate a little bit more into the night here on a Friday, and it sets yourself up better where you don't have to win your next match. Now they do. Overall, if you get 4 points, you're advancing from the group, unless something catastrophic happened in your last game. So they're still on course. And if we're going to evaluate this World Cup on what's a success or not a success, a game like this, they should have won, but they just need to progressively get better throughout, and then the wins will inevitably come.
Listen, I think they'll be happy going back to the hotel thinking, we've got a point out of this. We're in a good position. We've got Qatar next, who we probably feel comfortable of, that we're going to win this match and get 3 points. 4 points is going to get you through. And I think collectively, after that match, they'll be thinking, we were down 1-0 in a World Cup match, and we ended up coming back and drawing the match, and we got something out of it.
You change the way you think. And most people just casual sports fans that were very excited for this World Cup, most thought, okay, Canada's not playing Italy. They should go on and beat Bosnia and Herzegovina. Like that was, and I think the betting market dictated that. Canada were a significant favorite, about minus 130 heading into this game. So I think before the ball was kicked today, you're thinking Canada's got to go on and win this. I think the entire nation was feeling that way. But as the game went on, you go down a goal, I think that maybe your perspective changed a little bit. That's why I think a lot of people are a little bit more positive about a draw than they would have been otherwise if you said that when you woke up this morning.
It's all here. We know this, right? It is between the ears. Sports therapists, that's why they are a must for so many athletes and teams. But given the comments even Jesse Marsh made about the first half, he wasn't pleased with it, thought they were better in the second half. Do you chalk that up to emotions, so you keep the same starting 11, or do you think he makes some adjustments?
I think he'll look at it and think, okay, if everybody's healthy, I'm going to keep the squad the same, and I'm going to give these guys another shot at it, and again, make the substitutions in the second half that he needs. He knows now from the bench he's got players that will come off and can make a difference. So he'll be happy with that situation that he's in right now, but he'll be going through the squad, looking at each individual and thinking, who can give me the most coming into this next match against Qatar?
I think the one thing that he really needs to consider is if Ali Ahmed is healthy enough to play sixth. We don't know what sort of limitations he's going through. I thought he looked good when he came on. Ali Ahmed has to be a starter for this team if he's fit enough to go. That's the one. I thought that Liam Miller struggled at times today. He's active, he's pleasing on the eye, but the distribution just simply wasn't there. So I tried to get Ahmed into the team. Also, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in a position to potentially finish third place in this group. Like that would be a disaster. Bosnia plays Switzerland next. It'll be a litmus test game for them coming back from this one. Then they get Qatar in the last game. And they'll probably better understand how many goals they need to put past Qatar to potentially finish second or go on and win the group, right? So this next game against Qatar, you have to be ruthless and be able to finish. And this team collectively, Canada, I think we know what they're about now. Good team, difficult to play against, but they need to find some finishing and quick. Yeah. And I know that you said that they created chances. It's still just about a 1.2 XG in a game like that where you have so much possession. When it looked like Bosnia in the second half were running in quicksand, I thought Bosnia regressed as the game went on and Canada got better. I think both of them coincided with one another, but it's going to be a completely different task next time around. They have to score goals, be ruthless inside the area.
Quickly then, do you agree with KJ? Must win against Qatar?
Yeah, it's a must win.
Already, right?
Yep.
So second game in the group, already feeling must win, just given who that final.
It must win by a score.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's like a 1-0 must win. It's like 2-3, let's go.
Just get the 3 points.
No, just
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. I mean, you don't want to finish third, but reminder of the 12 third-place teams, the 8th best, they are the ones that move on. But you're right. Why take the risk if you don't have to? Top two, and preferably top spot is what they want. But they do go down a goal early in this one, but they fight back. The Canadians do. Kyle Larin subbed on in the 76th minute, scores in the 78th. 1-1, the final in Toronto. The attention will shift to Vancouver next. On behalf of Jimmy Brennan, Gareth Wheeler, and the rest of the crew here at One Soccer, I'm Manny Petrillo. Thanks for tuning in to Bet365 for the win. We'll see you next time.
Oh my goodness me! He's able to turn!